Hi, my name's Oswald Lyric Vivider. Welcome to Gold Rush the game, the tier setups. So I've just been to the bank. I've got myself my first loan. I'm going to show you how to set up all the tiers, how I would do them from easy to medium, well, easy to hard, sorry, and discuss how I set them up individually throughout those different settings. We're going to get ourselves to the parcel first. Well, that's where I should have really set the video up, but never mind. And we're going to unlock a few things. I've got the dollar mark on because I just want to show you how I set up my tiers. You can also watch my other videos on the subject where you'll see that I play the game personally in hard, just because it's more fun. But hey ho, right, let's get going. Right, so we're going to drive over to this campfirey bit over here and stop. And we're going to enter the tent and head inside. Now, depending on how you're playing the game, I'm just going to unlock all this crap. Yeah. There might be a few things that we might need to bring to over for different sections. Right, so first things first, we're going to find out how many vehicles slots we've actually got. I believe I actually don't know. There we go, 8. Right, so I've unlocked them for the time being because that's what we need. Right, so depending on whether you're playing in easy, medium, hard is depending on the hog pan that you are going to pick. If you're playing on hard especially, you are going to need the hog pan no pump because it's the cheapest option, right? As you can see, everything is $1 at the moment. It's just easier for me to just get the bare essentials in. So if you're playing on hard or medium, you'll probably need, on hard especially, you're going to need the hog pan no pump. On medium, you could possibly get away with the pump. I would personally add the pump in, but that's just me. But on hard, you're going to have to go no pump. So for the argument's sake of this video, we are just going to buy the simple setup. That's pretty much fundamentally it. So this is the bare essentials that you're going to need. So on hard you're going to need the no pump, there's 2 sluice boxes and the 4 mats. That's all you'll need. If you're playing on easy and medium, go the hog pan and pump, and I would then buy the small diesel pump. I would buy on medium, I'd buy the small diesel pump. From the small diesel pump you also want to go into parts, you want the water filter, and then from the water filter you're going to need 2 buckets, 2 jerry cans. I mean, we're too far away from where we are, so the jerry cans don't really matter for now, but you will have 2 jerry cans. You'll also need 1 singular thin hose and a fat hose. Oh god. You'll need a fat hose as well on top. That's just to get you started. Now, if you're playing on any other setting with medium, I mean, like I said, you'll just need the basic essentials plus the small diesel pump, the filter, the red hose and the green hose. If you're playing on easy, you may as well go for the full setup. So we are actually going to get absolutely everything that we need and go from there. So for easy, I brought 2 lights, the gold nugget, the wave table and the mag separator. I've also got the mobile generator on top. and then on top of that we want I can't even remember how many buckets I got, so we need one for that, we need another 3 of those, another one of those, a water splitter, we want 2 cables for the lights, we also need 3 cables, so let me just buy more cables. I need 1 more of those, 1 of those, and I need a power splitter. I'm also going to buy a medium crate for my buckets to go into, and also my pan mats. So I normally buy 2 sets of mats at least when I do this, so we buy them and that's it, done. So that's a simple setup. Also take note that obviously if you're playing on easy, you can just go up here, hire the worker. So we've got a sluice pan, let's hire him, and this is how you hire a worker. So just take note that when the worker is available, you will click on assign, assign him to the role, and that's it, done. And the percentage is basically just how well he does. So for this sluice box guy, he'll auto swap mats on the sluice box when they're full up, and then when you upgrade, so in 6 days time we can upgrade him to level 2 and he'll switch out 4 mats instead of only 2. So altogether we can put 8 mats on our sluice boxes. Right, so we're going to exit the tent. We want to okay, there's no, how confusing. Right, don't worry about that, we'll just have to go buy more buckets. So we're going to wander down here, right? So when you buy stuff on your claim, you'll come to this area over here where you'll see this grid reference here. This is where all your brought items will go, and they'll continue up here. Sometimes they can go even further up, but for some strange reason it won't let me actually do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab this box here and we're going to start throwing things inside it. So we also want to grab our sluice boxes, because we may as well, for easy transportation, we will just grab the mats and add them to the sluice boxes, so that we can transport 3 items at once rather than just the 1. And we'll pick it up and we'll cart it over to the area. So you'll see over here, you'll see a signpost over here where it, oh no, wrong place, sorry, my fault. It's over by the car, there's the signpost, it says Hogpan dig site, and that is exactly where we are going to be setting up our area. Don't worry about the story marker, I'm going to do a video on that later down the line, where I'll show you where all of the newspaper clippings are. I'm also going to take pictures of them as well, but that will come further down the line. So we are going to find the other sluice box, which is over here, pick the sluice box up. We're going to transport it over here so we can put the mats in it. And then we're going to cart it over. You could use the car to put everything in back, but I just can't be bothered. It's a lot quicker if you do, but I just can't be bothered right now. In fact, yeah, we will. Let's get in the car. Let's get in our truck. It'll be a lot quicker if we just use the truck. Try not to damage the truck, Ollie. Right, so next thing we're going to transport over will be, we want to add our extra. So this is where I'll put mats inside so that I can easily change them out, so I can do 2 changes at once. we'll do the same thing with our buckets, so the buckets can go inside that as well. May as well send them over with it. I'll put that in the back of the truck, why not? And we'll put that in with, where is it? There we are, there's the, no, be careful when picking the pump up. You might end up taking the battery out like I did. Just make sure you pick the actual pump up. We'll also pick up the thin hose, which is the green one. We'll also find the red hose, which is over here. We'll pick that up. We'll transport that up to where the filter is, in the ground over here. We'll add the filter to the hose by looking for the highlighted area, and we'll throw that in the back of the vehicle. Now the filter is just to filter out all the crap from the water as it's going in the pump, so that it doesn't affect the pump. I'll also grab the water splitter wherever that is. There we are, that's the water splitter. Don't worry about that little message, it's just telling you what the item's all about. We'll also grab the other hose, put that in the back, and we'll grab the hog pan and pump, whack that in the back as well, and then we'll drive off. Now, depending on obviously your setting, depends on how much you've purchased, where you purchase it from. Because I'm playing and showing you on easy, it's just easier for me to show you where to buy everything now and use it on the claim, whereas if you're playing on medium or hard, you'll have to purchase it from the shop in town, which I will show you further down the video when I go there, because I'm going to have to go there eventually. So just skip over to, if you want to find out where the shop is, skip over to tier 2 setup, and I'll start that video on the way to shop. So yeah, you'll be able to see that. The shop is in the middle of town. While we're on the subject, we may as well do a couple of pictures. F12, and then there we go. And that's just one of them. So I normally put the pump when it wants to grab it. So I normally put the pump over here, just right about there, and then I plug in this pump, the one hose, the one with the filter on it, into the water, and just drop it in. And then I grab this one and I plug it into this side of the pump, and then I break it into the splitter, and then for out of the splitter. Now if you're playing on easy, you may as well plug it into the splitter. If you're playing on any other setting, you'll plug it directly into the pump, which is on the side. You're just looking out for the yellow outline and plug it in. So because I'm able to use a splitter, I'm going to actually use the splitter, and just use this one here, and that will come straight into the back of the hog pan. From there we are going to find the extra mats. I don't understand why that came out the back. Let's go drop them into this. So we're going to use the buckets to we're not going to need the buckets. Not on this one anyway. So depending on your setting, depends on what you're going to be using those buckets for. So if you're on easy, you won't be using the buckets to clean the mats out at all, because you'll have the gold nuggeter and all that lot over here. Whereas if you're playing on any other setting, then you're going to be using the buckets to clean the mats out. So on medium and hard, you will on medium hard you will not bother, so you'll have to use the buckets to clean everything out with, rather than using the gold nuggeter. The gold nuggeter is literally just a machine that you can clean everything out with once you get set up. Once you fill a full hog pan to 100%, you'll take the mats to the gold nuggeter, add them in, turn it on, job done. So we're just going to take all the cables over for now, and then we're going to add, come on. Unfortunately, because of where I started, I don't really have the option to add fuel, but when you're playing on medium and hard, the first thing I do is get the jerry cans filled up with diesel, and then I'll head back to the shop, put them in the back of the car obviously before leaving, and then we will carry on with the rest of the equipment buying, and then we head to the parcel. Where I'm playing on medium, it doesn't really matter because we're not going to really need them anyway. I just buy them just for the sheer sake of the video, just to show you what you need to buy and purchase. As and when I normally get rid of them, so for the tier 3 setup I don't even bother with diesel generators and stuff. I don't bother with the diesel pumps, I use electric. It's just a better upgrade and less cost effective and a lot easier to run. So we've now cleared out all of our area. We're going to need some more buckets. Yes, I get it, it's a light. So this is what you're aiming for by the time you finish your area. If you're playing on hard, I wouldn't bother with the gold nuggeter or the magnet separator, personally. That's something I wouldn't bother with at all, really, personally, but it's up to you. It all depends on how much you really want to process pay dirt. And also, on top of that, whether, you might as well just leave that there because we need to buy another 2 buckets in a minute, because we're actually going to need them for a few other bits and pieces. So we'll add 2 jerry cans to that. And we'll pop that. Oh no, that needs to stay there, donut. Right, so we're just going to set this little area up, and this is where I normally set up for the first time, no matter what, but obviously depending on my setting is dependent on what I take with me. For this video, obviously I'm helping a friend of mine out who's just started playing, so hopefully by the time I share the video with him, he'll know how to operate everything. And how to get started, really. It'll be really handy for him to know what to do, considering he's never played the game before, and it can get quite tricky when you first start out. So hence the idea of the guide and the videos. I often make guides for that, guys, so why not? Right, so from here we've got the pump already set up. So what we're going to do now is we're going to plug the generator in. We're going to plug in the generator. So first things first, we're going to grab the blue cable and we're going to plug in our generator. From the generator we've now got our 3 leads. So what we want to do is we possibly want one of the work lights facing our equipment just in case it gets dark, and we want one of these lights down in our ground over here. So if we place that just roughly here, that will just light up the ground over there for us so we can see what we're doing as and when. Then we just need to plug everything in. So if we plug this one into this work light instead, that's that work light setup. We'll plug the splitter first cable into this work light. On top of that we'll need to plug in a few other bits and pieces. So I have a root cause of how I plug things in. So what I'm going to do now is grab our first machine that we're going to be using, which is going to be our the gold nugget. That's the first step in the cleaning process, so we'll plug that one in first and then we'll put the hose in that. The next process in our cleaning process will be the magnet separator, so we just put that down there a second and then we'll find the there we are, it's on the other side. And then the last process is the wavetable. So the wavetable is the last process in the cleaning. So we'll just pop that down there a second and then plug you in. Plug it in. Right, now for the buckets, we're going to need 1 bucket for the gold nuggeter, we're going to need 2 for the magnet separator, so we need a minimum of 3 buckets really, but for the sure sake of the video, considering I didn't actually get the extra buckets, all you do, you look out for the yellow outline, add the bucket. That means all the pay dirt will go into that instead. If you're playing on medium and hard, you'll need the buckets over by the dig site because you'll obviously have to hand wash the mats in the water, so you'll fill it up with water, you'll then grab the mat when it's dirty and you'll see the yellow outline and you'll literally dump it in the water and it will clean the mat. Eventually it'll fill up with pay dirt and it will get dirty after cleaning 4 mats, and then you take it over to your panning area, which will be a big round bucket. It's normally inside the tent, so when you first come inside the tent you'll see the massive round like silver tin, well it's like metal tin. You pick that up and there's normally 2 buckets in there, but because we're on easy they're not actually there because hey ho, you can buy all the equipment. So on medium and hard they're done. Right, so this is just generally the area, and to switch on the power for the pump there is a little tiny small diesel pulley there that then powers everything up, and that means everything is running. So now all you need to do is press for the shovel and then you literally just add pay dirt in to this, and it automatically cleans. If you don't have the pump, all you're going to do is add the pay dirt in, and then if you grab, say, a bucket that's full of water, you add that into the top. That will then run through and clean it. Bear in mind that it is 9 fills of spade when you've got no pump. It's 9 scoops, and you'll need 3 buckets to clean it out all the way. Whereas if you've got the pump, it's roughly, I believe, it's about 200. I know it doesn't really make any sense, does it? I mean, you've got to think about this. So it's nine scoops of the spade to fill up the hog pan, which means, and that gives you 9% on the hog pan max. So that would technically mean, yes, 100 scoops for a full fill, right? Whereas if you've got the pump, that's 200. I'm going to show you now. We're on 5%. We just do one more. Right, so this is what I was saying the other day about you're lucky you found the gold nugget. You can either keep or eject it. Keep it, and there we go. So watch this. So we're on 6% at the moment. If I add 1 scoop, okay, not to proven point. Okay, so it's actually 100 by the looks of things. Yeah, it's 100 scoops. So it is exactly the same. Excuse me. Right, so that is your tier 1 setup. We can now turn this off. So if we want to activate these machines, there are buttons on the side. So there's a button here to turn on the gold nuggeter. There's also a button here to start the gold magnet separator. Also the stop button for it, and the wavetable, the button is over here, and the button to start the generator up is right there. Job done. Right, so that is your tier 1 setup. Now, depending on obviously your game settings, depends on what you're going to buy and when you're going to buy it. So if you're playing on easy, you can go for the full setup. If you're playing on medium, go for a very, very fundamental basic setup of just the hog pan pump, and buy the diesel pump and the 2 cables you need to power it up with, which will be the red one, the filter, and the green one. From that, you'll then, after doing 2 fills, you can either then bugger off into town and weigh in your gold, and then that's when you can buy the extra machinery. So you can then go and buy your generator, the 2 lights, and blah blah blah. I would certainly get at least 500 gold before going into town if you're playing on medium, just so you can get the extra equipment, but you'll have to go to the store, buy the the magnet separator, wavetable, and gold nuggeter, the generator, the splitter, the few cables, the lights, etc, etc. If you're playing on hard, on the other hand, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Unfortunately, it's going to be roughly 8 fills of the hog pan by hand before you can upgrade and get the pump, before it becomes worthwhile. I mean, I did 4 and then I went off and bought it, but you don't really make I mean, it's roughly about 22 to 25 grams of gold per bucket of hand picking. So because you're actually only getting the gold from the pay dirt itself, you'll get roughly from anything from 19 to 25 grams of gold per bucket, depending on the bucket. So, and it's roughly $38.1 per gram of gold, is what I've currently worked it out to be. It may be a little bit more, it may be a little bit less, but it's roughly about 21,000, I think it is. Maybe a bit more. I'm only breaking it down to the closest number, but it's roughly about 21,000 for 500 odd grams of gold. So when you make your first full block, yeah, it's about 21,000. So it is slightly a bit more. I'm just rounding it down to the closest number, but you get the idea. So you might want some decent amount of gold before heading into town, before you think about buying your machinery. If you're playing on hard, I would not even bother with the gold nugget or the magnet separator. I would just go with the wave table just to make things slightly quicker. You can pick it by hand if you really want to, but when you're doing 28 fills just to get the next step done, it does take the biscuit just a little bit. So the next step in our tier process now is going to be setting up our tier 2 setup. Now unfortunately I may just stop this video here because I don't believe I'm going to have enough time to do all 3 videos before I've got to go out. So I'm going to stop this video and make a tier 2 setup video, and I'll be back in a second. Thank you very much. You have a good day. Thanks for joining.